alive on the moon. Sorrow, it's on the pen alive, with your host David Knapp.
Thank you, Clap Track, and happy Thursday night. We're here, we're doing it. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have you all here. I'm Dave Knapp, man on the Manjaro. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. That's why you're here. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Manjaro, that pen. We talk about all the things related to GLP-1s here on this channel. We talk about all the things related to type 2 diabetes and obesity, metabolic issues, so that as a community, we can be as equipped as humanly possible to have the most competent and confident conversations with our medical providing team as humanly possible. That's what we do here. So now that we've got the formalities out of the way, how you doing? How y'all doing? Welcome. Thank you all for being here. It's so good to be here with you every Thursday night. This is a real bright spot in my week. You know, I was doing a little reflecting this past week, and all I could think about, life circumstances had me in a very reflective mood of especially the last year of my life. And all I could think about was how thankful I am for this channel and for this community. You all have meant so much to me over the last year. I really can't put it into words. And there were several of you. So if you're on the member side of the YouTube channel, the member side is a special area of the show because I share a little bit more over on the member side. Matter of fact, I was just live with the members before we went live over here. We do that every week. And I had shared earlier this week, earlier today, just today, I had shared a video that I posted on Facebook 4 years ago. And I was announcing to my Facebook friends that I was dabbling in the world of YouTube, and I was going to share a journey on the latest and greatest diet that I had started. And it was astounding. It was honestly, it was an emotional video to watch because it was me at not a very great point in my health journey, not a very great point mentally because of the state that I was in. But I can so, watching that video back, see that even then I had a passion and a desire to share not only my journey, but the things that I felt like could work for me and could work for others. I just didn't know. I never knew back then. It's so interesting to watch that back and know what Manjaro has done for me and what this community has done for me, because if you watch that as a member, you can sense that even then I was sensing something's going to happen with this YouTube thing. And I don't know what it is, but it was just a really cool thing to come across and then to share with the members. The membership side is a very special side of this community. So if you would like to become a member of the channel, I think there was somebody who became a member right as we started. Alice became a member of the channel. But for $2.99 a month, you can click the link in the description of this video. And you can give back to the work that I do here, which is so meaningful to me. But it's a tight knit community, right? So I think of the broader channel as like going to a big mega church, right? It's big and it's fun and it's exciting and there's a lot of things going on. And I think of the membership side of going to the church in the small town rural area where everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows when somebody's grandma dies and when somebody needs a little bit extra encouragement. And so the members are a very special part of this community. If you would like to become a member, you can do so for only $2.99 a month. The link, if you're on an Apple phone, is in the description of this video. If you're on an Android phone, there's just a button that says memberships or become a member. So thank you for those who have done that. But that was a special thing to share with the members to this week. I hope that if you were a member, that you got to see that video. And I know Stu the dude said that he couldn't watch it. It's an emotional thing because if you followed my journey, you look at that video and you go, whoa, but if you watch it all the way through and listen to the words that I had to say, I so appreciate some of the comments on that video. I had them pulled up just before because you can't even know how encouraging they were to me. But I think of Mimi and Themby and all up in the comments, the messages that you left on that were just so uplifting, and you just never know like how much somebody needs that. And this week has been a week that I've needed it. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do that before we get into the show. We've got an excellent show tonight for you all tonight. A really, really fun show. A really big show. We've got a really big show for you tonight. We've got our friend LeeFitsIn. So Lee from LeeFitsIn. Now Lee has a channel over here on YouTube. He's got a Facebook and an Instagram at LeeFitsIn. And then over on TikTok, Lee's got a nice little channel over there. And Lee has drawn the attention and graced the presence of such cultural icons as Oprah. And he's also appeared on Good Morning America on behalf of the community. So Lee is here tonight to share a little bit about Lee's journey and what it's like to be thrust from his little corner of the world into the presence of the almighty Oprah, and to be on a show like Good Morning America. So such a cool experience that Lee has had, and so I'm excited to bring him in. And he's been kind enough tonight to offer to kind of do the segments with me. So if you're new here, the rhythm and cadence of this show is we do some housekeeping stuff, which was kind of what I just did, and just share something personal for the week or what's going on the channel. And then we talk about what's fresh in the world of GLP-1s for the week. We talk about some fake news, and then we typically bring in the person with the hot channel. But sometimes the person with the hot channel is kind enough to grace me with their presence through the all the content, because they're nerds like I am on all this information, and they like to go back and forth. So we're going to bring in the hot channel first in just a moment, but not until we roll the bumper.
Hot channel.
So without further ado, I'm going to bring in my new buddy, Lee. Lee, how you doing, man?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, bud.
All right. I'm good, man. Just down here in the dark. I got the light set up because, whatever. In my dungeon, this is a little spare room we've got, but I'll make it a YouTube studio for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, I really like to hear all the positive stuff about your community. And I want to reiterate to your community that Dave here is legit. He is a good human being. We've got to spend some time planning this show and talking on the phone. And he's been a total pleasure. So if you were wondering if Dave is actually nice in real life, he is. So there you go.
Well, I appreciate that. And the same can be said of you. I know watching your content when I was kind of teeing up because, a lot of my folks over here on YouTube are not on TikTok and vice versa. So I kind of have to tee it up like, you're going to like Lee. He's a good dude. And the same has been true of you. So it's always cool that, when that checks out.
Yeah. If folks want to follow me on YouTube, I will commit to start uploading here too, because I'm doing that on Instagram. I don't want it to just be a TikTok thing, just because you and I are both kind of sharing a journey, and so I want to do that.
Yeah, and I kind of felt the same way about YouTube. Is like there's people all over, and each community has its different flavor. As I'm learning on each social platform is kind of a different personality type that's kind of drawn to it. But I love them all too. So definitely, I'll put Lee's call outs at some point, and when I have time, I'll put them there. We'll scroll them across the bottom, and then I'll put them in the description of the video, which is where people really in posterity find all that. So one of the things we've got a lot to get into tonight about your own personal journey, but kind of the rhythm and the cadence of this show, because you had mentioned that you'd seen it before.
We Who doesn't watch Man on the Pen?
That's what I'd like to think. So we're gonna go through just some news of the week. We call that what's fresh. So we'll roll the bumper. So Lee, I don't know, like.
Oh, I've been watching your videos, Dave. This week's been crazy on the news front, so hit it.
Yeah, dude, it's been wild. So some of those weeks you just wait and like a lot of the, let's call them the off weeks, I find myself making silly content where I'll that TikTok filter where you just put the eyes and the mouth over something, and I'll put them over like a Manjaro pen, because there's no news. So I guess I'll just be goofy for a week. But then it's like the next week hits and there's just like boom, 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 just rapid fire news or just stuff to make content on, which.
Yeah, we could spend a ton of time just on news stuff this week, but.
For sure. So sorry, I'm pulling up my notes. Usually I have my
Yeah,
iPad.
no,
Usually
you're
I'm
good.
more
You're good.
prepared than I am tonight, but
I wish I knew more about patents.
I know. So like, do you mind sharing what you do for a living?
Sure. Yeah, I'm an attorney. Trained. I was actually a teacher. I taught middle school social studies, oddly enough, back in the day. And then I went to law school and I became a trial attorney. Been doing it for like 15 years up in near Seattle. Well, actually, all around Washington State. So attorneys call me to help put on their jury trials, and so I'll go around to different courts around the state. And so, what I like to say, I am an attorney, but kind of professional storyteller because that's what trials are. And it turns into kind of a one-man show while you're doing arguments and stuff. So it kind of plays well into what I like doing on TikToks and making videos and stuff. So yeah, I'm an attorney, but what I do is workplace injuries, workplace safety, a lot of physical and mental injuries, that kind of stuff. And somebody's kind of getting screwed over by an insurance company, also, which lends well to the content that we make here. So, that's kind of the gist of it. I don't do any kind of specialized patents or scientific stuff. So that's where it's like, your content is as good as mine as far as guessing what could be going on with some of this litigation. I understand the nuts and bolts of it because I do litigate in federal court too. But the only case that's going on right now that's right up my alley is this lawsuit against semaglutide. I think it's on Novo Nordisk, Ozempic for the stomach paralysis that's going on. So I am following that one pretty closely. So we can talk about
that tracks because it's like an injury
yeah.
thing. Which we've kind of covered that on this channel. I think that's a really interesting one because, you talk about GLP-1 it's a warning on the box of the medication that it's something that people experienced in the clinical trials, but it's also like sort of a mechanism of action turned bad, right? I mean, it slows gastric emptying. That's like one of the things that it's supposed to do, or GLP-1, the hormone, does, right?
Yeah, what I find interesting is that Ozempic's been around for 6 years, and you don't see a lot of these lawsuits filed until just now when things have taken off, which makes me wonder what's going on there, why we haven't seen lawsuits like this before. Does it mean people just haven't brought the lawsuits, or does it mean that this one's a bit of a stretch? Hard to say. I will let you know that the lawsuit was filed August 8th, I believe the 8th, and the answer that Novo Nordisk has to make. So when you file a lawsuit, you file the complaint. The other side has to answer the complaint. Well, they've gotten that bumped out to November to even answer the lawsuit. So this will take quite a while to play out. So
yeah, and would that be indicative of something? Would that be indicative of a stall tactic for them to build a case?
Definitely a stall tactic. Well, no, it's pretty normal. You only have 30 days to respond to a complaint. This particular complaint was huge, enormous thing. And so the fact that they needed a little more time to respond to a really detailed complaint, that's probably pretty normal. So
even with an
they basically got another like 6 weeks.
Yeah. That'll be an interesting one to follow. I feel like with that one specifically, it's going to be hard to prove because gastroparesis it's something that diabetics are more prone to, and these were diabetics taking diabetic medication. So I don't know how you necessarily correlate that, especially, and even how you kind of teed that up. You're like, I don't know, they've been around for 7 years or however long you said. Well, isn't that more of an indictment that since this is the first time it's been brought up, that it's probably
the causation, what we call causation, in these litigations, you have to have a negligence of some sort, but you also have to have causation. So that negligence has to actually cause what you're complaining of. And that will be the link, even if there is some negligence found, which I don't know. But the link on causation will be tricky because so many things can lead to these conditions. And the complaint was vague about what diagnosis the people really even had. But I have had lawyers who are fishing around I definitely know some of my colleagues are looking for plaintiffs and seeing if people are being affected. I didn't lose a friend, but I responded to one of them and I said, "Hey, I'm actually on it, and it's amazing."
Yeah, it's
they didn't
changing lives.
they didn't respond. They didn't respond.
Please don't screw this up for us. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the no, I meant like you saying that to him. Generic this generic semaglutide, that's been one that I've been following closely because it's one that on my channel since about, I don't know, the early part of the year since I started doing this show. And I don't think Michelle Hess is here tonight. Michelle worked in law offices over her whole professional career, and some big movers in law, and especially in patent law. And she's
Nice.
always been so good at like helping me understand, like, the way that I kind of encapsulated what she had to say was like, a peptide can't be patented any more than like a B vitamin can, because they're naturally occurring substances in nature. So then, if that premise is true, it kind of changes this whole conversation. And so, it'll be interesting to see how the thing comes out about semaglutide. Because I at first when I read the article the other day, and I because I made one video that went it was the most viewed video that I've had on TikTok. But it was like basically Viatris or I don't know how I don't care how you say it, but they were going after Novo on 3 different patents for semaglutide, which is very interesting. They lost the first 2, and then they were granted the third. Now, the first article that I read had the wrong patent number on it, I believe, and I looked up that patent, and it had a lot of things on it like that were included in it. One of them was the sequencing of the peptides. So for those of you watching that don't understand what we're talking about, so these medications, GLP-1 medications, or in Manjaro's case, GLP-1 and GIP, they're receptor agonists. So they're basically a medication that helps your body to produce more of the incretin hormone, which is GLP-1, and in Manjaro's case, also GIP. Those are incretin hormones, and they're responsible for doing a lot of things. But, let's just say at the end of the day, they help control blood sugar and they help people lose weight. With these, the name of the active ingredient all ends in tide. So with Wegovy, Ozempic, Rybelsus, it's semaglutide. With Mounjaro, it's tirzepatide. The tide is because these are peptides. So what are peptides? Well, polypeptides. They're just long chain amino acids, right? So what that means is basically there's just a sequence of amino acids, and they compound them together. They put them together in these medications. We inject them, and then they help us to produce more of these hormones. So they're amino acids that are in specific patterns. So one of the things that I found that was really interesting, because it turns out that the initial report that I read incorrectly named the patent that was going to move forward in the challenge. So the one that did ultimately move forward, and let's see if I can share this. Hang tight, folks. All right. So it's this patent. Sorry, I have the world's worst mouse here. But basically what this patent says or relates to is the dosing schedule. So patent 10,335,462. The first one that I read was actually patent 8 million something. Okay. So that's like very boring for most of you, but so what it sent me off on, though, is I looked up this first patent that I thought it was, which is the 8,300,000 whatever thousand it was. And when I read it, what I realized was what was included in that patent was the sequencing of the amino acids, because as Matt pointed out in the chat, it's a specific chain of amino acids, right? Mm-hmm. There's lots of, for those of you who don't care, won't ever know, won't ever look into this, it's just a bunch of letters in a row. That's what it looks like on a screen, right? A bunch of random letters in a row. So what I found when I looked this up, Lee, was that this was liraglutide which is Saxenda and Victoza, which are coming off, which are off patent. The patent's expired on those. So we'll have generics of those, and that's a Novo Nordisk medication, just like semaglutide. That is off patent. And semaglutide and liraglutide are almost the same exact thing.
Yeah.
When you just look at the sequence of the letters, right? I'm going to dumb this down because this is how I look at it. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a patent expert. I'm just a guy on YouTube who gets interested in this stuff. Thank you, Sabrina, for the super chat. That's very sweet of you. Always appreciated, but never expected. So liraglutide and semaglutide are virtually the same thing. The only thing that I could really see that was different is they add fat molecules to this, and this is where I think that the patents come in, right? So if the basis of
they change it just enough or add a little bit.
Yeah, and it's not like they're adding it for no reason. Adding fat molecules to it is actually, peptides have a very short half-life. Like, it can be measured in hours. So that's why liraglutide is a daily injection. You need to take it every day because your body absorbs it quick, processes it quick, and it's out of your system. Semaglutide, as we know, is a weekly injection. Or in Rebelsis' case, we're going to just take Rebelsis out of this conversation. The injectable semaglutide is a weekly injection. So the way that they extend the half-life and stabilize the peptide is they add fat molecules to it to protect it and to help with the absorption rate, which extends the half-life. And that's where the patents lie. And that's where the conversation of compounds, if this theory is correct, this is like deep into nerd territory. So I hope people stick with us. But like,
they're sticking around, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the first time they've heard me go off on.
Oh yeah,
Peter Hopkins is here. I don't know if you know Peter.
Yeah, he's a follower. Hey, Peter.
Yeah, he's here to support you. So he's like, but I didn't sign up for this nonsense. What are we talking about? So yeah, get to the point, Dave. So my point is basically they changed the fat molecule in semaglutide versus liraglutide. So they used a different kind of fat. They used like an vegetable fat in one and then a animal fat in another, something like that. Like crazy, right? And then they just changed like the order of like one of the things.
So Ozempic isn't vegan, Dave?
Yo. There we get
that's getting
riled up. That's a really great point. So yeah, and this is again just from what I've seen that liraglutide and semaglutide are very similar. So now what I'm wondering, as just a guy on YouTube and TikTok, is if there are stronger patents with different peptides, like tirzepatide. It's not like tirzepatide was built off of another medication because it's dual acting. So I think tirzepatide's
it's very different. Yeah,
a stronger patent
coming out is a whole nother level too.
Say that one more time.
The triple, there's one that's going to have 3.
Retatrutide, yeah. So
yeah, I'm going to try and pronounce it.
I pronounce it wrong. People are all over me about it. But retatrutide,
Oprah called it triple G. Oprah called it triple G.
Yeah, the triple G. And this guy's been covering the triple G since December. So like, I'm a nerd. I know. I've seen your videos on it. So I think that some patents are stronger than others, because that was one of the big questions. So that video had like 100,000 views on it, and like that was the consistent. You're like, I'm never going to keep up with answering all these questions, but the one I got over and over and over is, how does this affect tirzepatide? Won't they just come after that? And I don't think so, because tirzepatide's a dual agonist. So you get a little bit stronger patent there, and it's also not built off a previous GLP-1 because it's a GIP. So a really long nerdy conversation. We'll see how this kind of all shakes out, and as it kind of, as the dust settles on all this. But I think that there might be something to this, where at first I thought, like everybody else did, there's probably nothing to it,
Yeah, but I think best case scenario, even if they win, you're probably not going to see generic semaglutide till 2026 or, it's still going to be a while.
Yeah, at best we might get it slightly earlier, right? And that's what I said in the first video. Like, even if this thing does go through, there's a lot that has to happen. But
it moves very slowly.
But I think that where this conversation about the patents, if my theory is correct, I think it bleeds into the compound conversation, because what these lawsuits say about the compounded versions of sema and tirzepatide is that these drug manufacturers, if you read the verbiage in these lawsuits, it says it's a non-FDA approved version.
Yeah, I have read them. And a lot of these companies that are getting sued, though, the compound pharmacies aren't getting sued for selling compounded semaglutide. They're getting in trouble for saying it's Ozempic.
They're getting sued over the trademark, not the patent. But in these cases, the drug manufacturers are stating that it's a non-FDA approved version of the active ingredient, even though that's not like the basis of their case. They go out of their way to mention it. And I think
they're trying to make it sound dangerous.
Well, maybe. And yes, they could be making, and I'm not anti compound, but what the point that I'm making is, if my hypothesis is correct, that they don't have the same lipidization, because I don't think this has to do with shortages. I think the shortages go. I think the compounds stay too. But there's so much to shake out.
A lot of compounds, they send you refrigerated or frozen, or they have you freeze it when they send it to you. And I think that might be something to do with the lipidization as well, because it doesn't preserve as well as just in the refrigerator. Whatever they're doing on the compounds, it certainly could be
like the same chains, the same specific sequence of amino acids, but with different lipidization or no lipidization, which brings me to another point, that if these compounds do have different lipidization or none at all, the dosing schedule should be different. So that's one thing that I've, because then the half-life changes. So, I'm for doctors and patients finding the best course of treatment that's available to them. That's what I'm for. I'm not anti anything. But these are the things that I've wondered, because I think, like, we talk about these all as if they're separate issues, but I think they're kind of all woven together in a weird way.
Yeah, I think so too.
Nerd conversations.
Nerd talk.
To be sure. Nerd talk. Hey, if you're still hanging with us in the chat, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for joining us. We've got tons of news to talk about. So let's talk about the potential delay in the Mounjaro weight loss indication. So there's a few things that are happening, and hat tip to Matt, who is a excellent follower of my channel, and Matt sends me all sorts of information. This was one of them, and he's like, dude, so here's what's going on. And I had seen all these reports individually, but I hadn't put the pieces together like Matt did. So earlier this week, Eli Lilly had announced that basically they had made some major restructuring in their leadership in the diabetes and obesity management part of Eli Lilly. So all, executive level positions, all changing. So that's happening over here. And of course, there's a very corporate spin on it. This so-and-so is retiring. So-and-so is getting promoted. This, a nice, corporate spin put on all of it. So you've got that happening on one end. But then separately, you have, and I don't remember the name of the drug, but they have had this, this drug that they've been trying to get through the FDA for kidney disease, I think. And it was approved over in Europe, but the FDA over here has not approved it, and it's been because of issues with the factories, and not to the level that Novo Nordisk has had with semaglutide, but basically they're saying, there's some issues with the manufacturing facilities that haven't been addressed, and we want to see those addressed first. So then that, kind of put those two things together. You could say, is the FDA looking at this and saying, because they're not getting these issues rectified within these facilities, that we're not going to approve any new medications that's coming out of any of these facilities. And if they're relying on that for the Mounjaro tirzepatide supply, which we also know that the 10 milligrams still remains in shortage, that hasn't been updated. FDA doesn't like to approve medicines for a new indication when there's short supply, although it's not on the official, I mean, it's on the shortage registry, but they have a separate registry under a different congressional act for drugs that are in shortage. That, you know, it's a congressional act that basically says if a medicine is in shortage for a current indication, we can't approve it for a new indication. So it's not on that list, but it is on the shortage list of the FDA as a drug that's in shortage officially. So interesting. You put all this stuff together and you say, is maybe the restructuring that's happening because they know that they missed the approval for now for Mounjaro or for tirzepatide for the weight loss indication, and that you know, that's why this stuff is happening. And could that mean a delay until sometime next year, which would be terrible news for a lot of people, especially given the news of Novo Nordisk and their shortages. So that's kind of the news. What do you make of all that? Are we stretching things too far?
I don't know. I think it's hard to predict what it really all means. I mean, everyone has been indicating that this new indication will be dropped in the fall or maybe by the end of the year. But I mean, yeah, I think anytime you see red flags, you know, at the same time that you're seeing problems with production and then changes in leadership, and it's like, okay, something is going on. What is it? What exactly does it mean? I don't know. I get a lot of people who, in my practice, want me to play out all the scenarios that you could think of and where it's going to go. And I always just have to tell them, you have to wait and see. You're going to kill yourself with the guessing game because you don't know. You know, we don't know. I think it's fun to speculate because it is interesting and the timing is there. But I do not know. It could mean nothing.
It could mean nothing. If I'm anything, I'm a speculator. I
like that
spend a lot of my life in that lane, just because I enjoy the exercise. So you know, Matt shares a lot of information and a lot of him. I love it because it always makes me think, if nothing else.
Yeah. You
know, and up until today, I think that's a little bit of a stretch because it is plausible that, you know, with how big the obesity indication is going to be for tirzepatide, potentially the highest selling medication of all time.
Yeah, 50 billion or something.
It could just be time to make that change within Lilly, but also Lilly does everything so calculated. I can't imagine them making that change right before a major launch either. So I don't know. But then today, so this is interesting for those of you watching today. I don't know if you caught it, if you were in the members live stream before this, we talked about this a little bit, but CNN did a random tour of a Eli Lilly Raleigh Durham. I don't know if it's Raleigh.
Really? I did not see this.
It's very interesting. You should check it out. It's on the CNN website. I will go back and drop the link to it in the description of this video after we're done here. But the CNN video is really fascinating because they bring them into the facility and they show the line. They show the Mounjaro pens getting filled up. They talk about how that they're running the factory 24/7 there to keep up. It felt very PR-ish. It felt very PR-ish, like they were trying to get out ahead of something here. Because otherwise it seemed really random because the coverage.
Like they maybe tied some of their advertising money to CNN doing a puff piece.
It could be, you know, it could be, you know, I mean, here's the thing. Everything that comes out right now, and we'll talk about this when we get to the fake news. Everything that talks that the media talks about is Ozempic.
Oh yeah, they had a big story about Walmart. Now nobody's buying food anymore.
Yep, exactly. So it's like all of a sudden we're talking Mounjaro. It felt very calculated. So, you know, I kind of throw that back in the bin and I say maybe there is something to the fact that this Mounjaro indication could be delayed. Now, folks, there is a spot on so much work, but I can go and find it, and I can link this in the description of the video as well. But I've been following the FDA website because every day they release more and more medications that they're approving, and there was a flurry of them in September, like more than usual. And so I think that if you don't see Mounjaro drop in there in the next couple of weeks, I don't know. My what I was surmising all along was November, because if you look at Wegovy took a 6 months. 6
But
months.
you're not the only one, Dave. I mean, I've seen multiple people who seem to have at least some knowledge about how this may play out, that all are saying the same thing. So,
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. So TBD, right?
Yeah.
So in the chat, I think folks are referencing maybe your visit over to the Plus Sides podcast. Is that right?
Yeah, one of the Deb in there said, "Hey, did you guys see that?" So, and I responded, just said, "Yeah, that was a fun show." So,
yeah, this is a good time for the reminder, because the Plus Sides, they talk about Man on the Mounjaro on their lives, which I really appreciate, and we talk about them over here too, because they such great advocates for those struggling with obesity. And they talk about a lot of the same things we do, just in a totally different way. So I like to roll a little video to inform people about them. So we'll do that real quick here.
cool.
And everybody can take a pee break. One moment.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together. The Plus Sides Podcast, because every story deserves to be heard, every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
The Plus Sides gal. So Lee, the Plus Sides gals got to you before I did on the.
Well, they did ask first. I'm sorry, Dave.
Oh, well, that's because I tell you what. That's because Kim is on it.
She's a hustler in a good way. The best way.
In all the best ways. Kim is awesome. That's why I love to talk about the work that they do over on the Plus Size, because they are they're awesome. And
yeah,
and
but your
me,
show's totally different, man. I mean, it's good. They're both good shows, and they're both very different. There's plenty of space in this area for
absolutely
all the
absolutely. I'm in sales, and one of the things that I'm in a pretty cutthroat industry, but one of the things I always tell people is there's room for everybody. If you understand what you're good at and what your competitors aren't, and what your competitors are good at and what you aren't, you'll quickly understand that we're fortunate enough to live in a time where the pie is great, right? And on social media, there's people absorbing all sorts of different kinds of content, and mine has definitely got its own flavor, and so does theirs over on the Plus Side, and Kim does a great job. So I am a fan of what they do. They're a fan of what I do, and so we try to prop each other up, which I love. That's definitely part of, kind of who I am. So in that vein, we've got some fake news to get to, but then I can't wait to get to the discussion about your time on Good Morning America.
Oh my Lord.
And your time with Oprah. And so we're going to get there. But before we do, we have another segment that we like to go through here. I used to call it Fake News Friday. Then I moved the show to Thursday, and Fake News Thursday doesn't have quite the same ring. But the one thing that I have to do every Thursday night in my real life is I have to take the trash out because it comes and picks up early on Friday morning. So I decided on Thursday nights on the pen, we're going to take out the GLP-1 news trash. So that's what we're going to do together here. So Lee, this is this is a lot here.
Okay, what do you got? Fake news, hit me.
All right. So this one's interesting. Okay. So let's do this thing, for better or for worse.
Are we getting married?
I don't think so.
Business and health.
Let's see here. Edit, stop screen. I don't know. I want to change this to something else. We'll see what happens. I might break the internet.
Don't break the internet.
Present.
That is a big trash can. Well, it's a lot of garbage this week, I bet. I was reading your comments.
There's a lot of garbage and a lot of wild stuff. And nothing gets more wild than somebody getting their crotch burned off with Ozempic. So,
oh, what?
I don't know what to make of this
the
one.
New York Post. I mean, they always have some interesting stuff in that New York Post.
They do, and this is no exception. Now, I don't want to get into the finer details of this article, but it is as advertised. It is not clickbait. If you're just relating the title of the article to the content is very much on brand with the name of the article. So this gal claims that this happened. this happened.
Is that where she was injecting it? That's not an injection.
That's valid. That's valid. Somebody may want to follow up. So, okay, what were you saying earlier about your practicing law, correlation and causation?
Yes, well, right, exactly. So the example that I use is if you're on an airplane and every time the flight attendant walks by you, you have turbulence. Is the flight attendant causing the turbulence? No, that's correlation. It's not causation. So,
well, either that or maybe the flight attendant could use a GLP-1. That was in poor taste. That was in poor taste. I'm gonna get some comments on that one.
Yeah, give it to him.
Just lay it on me. I got it coming. Trust me. And then some. So yeah, that's actually a really excellent analogy. Because here we got a very isolated incident. But one of the things, and I don't want to go off on this rabbit trail, but another thing that Matt sent me was a really great article I'll do a long form video about this week.
Okay.
Because it deserves it. But dude, there's a scary article that came out today, and let me actually look up where it came from.
Yeah, there's some legit scary stuff that people publish, and CNN ran with a big one on stomach paralysis based on 2 people, and everybody was talking about that for a week or more because it sounded terrifying.
Yeah, so this article basically talked about fake versions of Ozempic. And I'm not talking about compounds, or I'm not talking about research chemicals.
No, I know.
I'm talking about people who at the wholesaler level. So we talked about this on this channel. You've got basically the manufacturer, right, up at the top of the food chain, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, that sell to wholesalers, and wholesalers sell to pharmacies. This fraud is happening at the wholesaler level.
That's crazy.
And they've only been able to prove that it's happening overseas, but they're surmising that it's also happened on some level here, where they have people that are going into these wholesalers and selling them bootlegged versions of Ozempic that have no semaglutide. The pens are the same. The boxes are the same, except for some distinct markings. And that it was found that these medications contain insulin glargine in them and not semaglutide, which is so dangerous because semaglutide, there's no warning, at least as far as I know, there's no warning on semaglutide or tirzepatide for hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, right? One of the great things about GLP-1 is that it helps your pancreas make more insulin when you need it, not all the time. Right. So that's the amazing thing about these drugs. Insulin is very different. When you shoot insulin in your body, you could have very low blood sugars very quickly, and it could be a very serious medical event. So this will be something to watch because, I mean, goodness gracious, I can see this happening with things like research chemicals for which there's no guarantee. I can even see this maybe happening at really super shady compound places. Maybe even, probably not even then. Like this is so far fetched and hard to believe. So I want to see.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally dangerous.
Yeah.
I think compound. If there's a shady compound, they're giving you something that's worthless, but not necessarily actually dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, because even we talked about this many times on our channel. Compound pharmacies, though they're not under the same regulations under the FDA as a manufacturer like Novo or Lilly, they are so strictly governed by their state boards of pharmacy. So and their state boards of pharmacy are advised by the FDA. So there's FDA oversight to some level. But they're governed by their state board of pharmacy. And so, like you said, I mean, compounds are one of those things. Talk to your doctor. Your doctor will probably know who's reputable, who has good, and you can look it up on your state board of pharmacy website too. You can find out who the good ones are and who the ones that haven't done so well in the inspections and all that. But this is happening at the wholesaler level. So theoretically, you could have been picking up something from your pharmacy that wasn't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so that's where something like this, you go, could it be that, whatever this lady was injecting was something that could have caused that? But
she was sold. I mean, I'm just thinking about the headline. I could see maybe it being sold as an ointment or a skin application.
Yeah, like a salve.
She didn't realize it, and so she applied it on her skin for some reason. I just don't get the burning, but
yeah, if you read the article,
and why there? I don't know.
Yeah, mercy me.
Right.
So we're gonna put that under the take out the trash because although it's not necessarily fake news, it's definitely the kind of news that makes you go, ugh. It's like garbage juice leaking onto your foot or something. It makes you go.
That does happen.
Garbage juice. Ugh.
Garbage juice. Okay.
All right. So
I'd rather take. Well, I don't think I would rather take garbage juice than fake.
Nah.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want either one.
It depends on what's in the garbage. All right. Moving on. What else we got? Let's see here. Usually I'm running off my iPad, and this is a more seamless. Okay, so we've got Walmart. Okay, so I got a fake news myself for a second, Lee. So there's an article that came out today, actually yesterday, I think, or the day before, about the Walmart CEO basically saying people on Ozempic are buying less groceries. So then Dr. Daniel Rosen, who was a guest on the show, if you watched the Dr. Daniel Rosen episode, put it in the chat. Let me know. Dr. Daniel Rosen was an awesome guest a couple weeks ago. He did a video and tagged me over on TikTok. And he's like, so this information that the Walmart CEO was citing was actually not just like, hey, we're down in grocery sales and it's Ozempic's fault. Is actually that they followed their customers who had bought Ozempic from their pharmacy through their stores and then said, these people bought less groceries that were on Ozempic. So they were tracking people who were on Ozempic by virtue of purchasing it from Walmart. And then they followed them through the grocery store, presumably, through the app or however, and said that, their cart had marginally less groceries in it. And I just thought, I liked it better when I just thought they were blaming Ozempic. This is like one of those just like, so they're just following these people around. And I realize, they said that it's anonymous and all that stuff, but gosh, that's freaky.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they have this in Iowa, presumably, but the grocery stores out here, in order to get discounts, you have to enter your phone number.
Yep.
When you check out. Well, so Kroger, that's the big one out here. They know everything you buy every time you shop because you enter your cell phone number, and then the pharmacy is in the Kroger.
Right.
Right. So if you get your Ozempic or whatever at Kroger, they'll see that you've purchased it from them and then be able to just run your numbers without following you. I find that interesting that Walmart physically, it sounds like, followed these people around. I'm surprised they can't just track. Do you have to enter your number at Walmart? I don't go
Well,
there.
they have that. They have a mobile app, and I think at least like Sam's Club has the scan and go. I don't know if Walmart does. I really don't shop at Walmart that often if I can avoid it. Well, because groceries are so expensive, and I got 4 kids, so it's Aldi for us when we grocery.
Yeah, we don't have all these out here.
Yeah, Aldi is great. But yeah, just like I liked it better when I just thought it was him saying we're down in grocery sales and it's Ozempic's fault.
No, yeah.
I actually kind of like that better than, hey, we track the people who bought Ozempic and they're buying less groceries. That just freaks me out. So
yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of things that go into why folks might be buying less groceries. Maybe, inflation.
yeah. What I don't know is how that stacked up against people who were not on Ozempic and what their habits have changed. Because everybody's buying less groceries. They're spending the same, but they're buying less, or spending more and buying less.
Jinx.
Yes. Oh, yeah, Diet Coke.
Yes.
So yeah, like, and you talk about
Coke.
even just like the soft inflation, like the prices go up slightly, but then you also realize you're buying, 10 ounces instead of 14 ounces. If you pay attention.
That box of mac and cheese doesn't feed as many people as it used to for some reason.
So yeah, it's going to take a lot of Ozempic to offset the inflation, but yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff nonetheless. So had to mention it in the fake news. Now let's get to your journey, Lee. Let's talk about it.
I know. Hopefully, folks, stuck with it. Me and Dave start talking, it just could go forever.
We could go for a very long time, I feel like. So yeah, thank you. Hey, if you're new tonight, put an N in the chat next to your name and let us know that you're new here. There's 91 people in the chat. Nice. And a lot of the folks that I see that are usually here are in the chat. But if you're new here, put an N in the chat next to your name. Let me know that you're new. And also, if you're from TikTok, put TT in the chat. I'd love to welcome our TikTok friends over. Jeremy's new. Thank you for being here. Themby, thank you for the really super sweet comment that you gave on the members only video. You definitely did have me welling up with tears. That was a very sweet comment. Mac is new. Welcome. Hey, consider Tanya's over here from TikTok. That's what I like to hear. Welcome. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. So if you enjoy this content, there's 3 things that you can do. The first 2 are free. Hit the like button and then hit the subscribe button. And then if you really like it, you can become a member of the channel. And you do that by clicking the link in the description of this video. Helps to support what I do here. Thank you for that, Lee. But let's get into, thank you for letting us know that you're here. Deborah's new here and she's a new member as well. So thank you, Deborah, for being a new member of the channel. I appreciate that. So let's talk about it, Lee. So let me know, just lay the groundwork for what led you to Ozempic.
Okay. Well, so I'm 44. I turned 45 in November. It's coming up, but I've done the whole yo-yo. I think everybody who's watching your content, I'm sure, understands the diet ups and downs, but the steady march is up, right? And so after COVID, I gained a lot of weight over COVID. An immense amount of things happened, which I know I'm not unique to that. And so I got through sort of what the post-COVID recovery period and got to the point where I was ready to try and commit to getting healthy again. But this time I meant it. My phone is full of photos of day ones that didn't go anywhere. But I thought, hey, I'm going to start a TikTok to document what I'm doing and getting healthy. So I started that. And then I said, I'm also going to get all my blood work done because I want to see where my A1C is at. My dad's a diabetic. He's lost his leg. He's had all kinds of issues from diabetes, heart issues. cholesterol. I want to get it all checked right when I'm starting this journey. And so I did those, and they came back bad. I was, 6.0, which I know isn't crazy high, but I've seen some horrible things from my dad's diabetes. So the fact that it was that high and getting on marching on up, and then the resting blood sugar was like 120, just below 125, which is a big marker, and cholesterol's high. They checked my heart, and I do have some starting heart disease stuff going on that runs in the family too. So my doctor was like, look, I want you to get healthy, but I think you should do this. You should do the Ozempic because you need to get this turned around ASAP, And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And so I did it, and I had already started doing these videos, right? For like, I don't know, you can go back and look. It just started last March. And I said, well, okay, I'll post my experience with getting on this medicine because I'm already doing videos. Well, I had no idea at the time. I was watching videos about people trying to lose weight, counting calories and stuff like that. I didn't know the world that I was about to step into. So I started posting these videos about my experience, and my main ones that kind of blew up were where I was like, here's 5 things I learned after 1 week. Here's 5 things after 2 weeks. And I was talking about the food noise because I'd started to see videos, of course, because now I'm starting to engage with Ozempic and GLP-1 community members. And those just blew up. And so within I'm not market savvy. I'm not out. I don't have a publicist. I'm not trying to promote myself. I'm just posting videos. I don't even do lives. I rarely do lives. So it's literally only video content on TikTok. And they were getting hundreds of thousands of views, which is bonkers. And within probably a month, 6 weeks, I get an email to my work email. And it said, Good Morning America. And I was like, it's probably junk, but it didn't look quite like junk. I was like, what is this? So I open it up, and it's like, hey, this is a producer from Good Morning America. We saw your TikToks. Like, what? What are you talking about? So then they're like, can we chat? So I called her and I Googled her because I was like, this seems like
this is fake.
Yeah. And she's really a producer for Good Morning America. And I talked to her on a Friday, and we sat and we filmed it on Monday. And so I did a Good Morning America, and then a couple of weeks later, the segment came out on Good Morning America. They didn't really plug my TikTok, so it was just me. But I did try and push it and say, "Hey, look at this!" And then, sure enough, still making content because it's just having fun. And then I got on Good Morning America, so now everyone and their mother in my hometown knows what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm not hiding it anymore. And then a producer from Harpo Productions, Oprah's production company, messaged me on TikTok directly and was like, hey, we've seen your TikTok videos and we're curious if you'd want to be part of a conversation we're putting together. And I was like, what? And it was Oprah. And so I called him right away, and they were like, oh, we thought you were in New York because the show gets filmed in New York City. And I was like, hey, man, if you think I'll be on Oprah, I will fly myself to New York. You don't need to. I'll come to New York if you think I should be on the show. So we had a really good conversation, just talking about all the benefits of Ozempic and different things. So they started putting together this show, and I kept waiting and waiting to see if they were really going to have me come out or want me to fly out or what. The show the show's taping was the first Monday of August. Okay. I didn't find out that they were flying me out for sure until Wednesday before. And then they said, yes, you're officially green light. And what is that noise? I'm hearing something.
Can you hear me?
Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. My computer's frozen. So just keep talking. I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
You got this.
So, okay, Dave's working on it. So then Monday, they say, we'll fly you out Sunday. And I talked him into letting my mom come. I had to pay for her, but I had airline miles from COVID because we didn't go anywhere. And so we flew out Sunday morning, got to New York City, and there was like a guy with a sign that said my name, and with like a big old blacked out SUV, took us from the airport into the city, a hotel right next to Central Park, 1 block off. And so we walked around Central Park. We walked down from Central Park down to Times Square and had dinner at Carmine's down at Times Square, and then just headed home, or headed to the hotel. And the next morning, a car picked us up. I met another TikToker actually there who was also on Oprah. Then they drove us to the Hearst Tower, which is a really cool building where it's like an old-timey brick building at the bottom, and then this brand new like structure that's all kind of angly and crazy up top. Go through security, go up to the top floor, and there's this huge, beautiful studio with windows that are kind of smoked out that look over to the city skyline. And we were sitting there, and they come up to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, not only are you," and I was in the audience, so I wasn't up on the stage with Oprah and her guests, but in the studio. And one of the producers came up to me and was like, "Oh yeah, also you're going to go first, and she's going to call on you by name and go, 'Where's Lee?'" And I was like, "Oh my God, what are you even talking about?" So Oprah's going to talk directly to me and ask me a question, like on what presumably would be a national audience at some point. So sure enough, they wanted me to talk about food noise, which is kind of one of the main things I like talking about, or I enjoy talking about, because it's just a big benefit for me. But so yeah, then we ran the show, which if you haven't seen, it's on Oprah Daily. We can talk about that a little bit. I'm posting little clips of it too on TikTok. I will get it onto YouTube because I have not uploaded those to YouTube. But that's because I have literally 0 followers, despite having posted some great content, including me going to all the fast foods in town, taste testing their pickles. Got very few views. I was very sad, so I was a little upset with the YouTube at that point. And so there you go. So yeah. So basically, Dave, from going from nothing, 0 followers, which wasn't ever my goal, but I started with my only thing I had is a phone, no high tech gear, no nothing. I started in March, got on Ozempic April 1st, basically March 30th. And within 3 months, I'm being flown to New York to be on Oprah. So it has been bonkers, literally crazy.
That's a crazy journey.
And I didn't like I said, they came to me. I don't know. There's so many creators who do so much amazing stuff, and I feel guilty at sometimes because I'm like, well, why me? But I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to say no.
Why? Yeah. Why not you? I mean,
well,
I think here's one of the cool things. And I think people have mentioned this to me, and it was kind of like a no brainer to me. But like when I first started making content about my Mounjaro journey, it was because I didn't feel like other guys were, and I didn't quite understand that. But I actually think it's kind of unique, because I don't think that guys like to share anything that could, in general, that is like maybe a little vulnerable. So I think like when you do, and I don't even think I'm not that vulnerable. I watched a lot of the our female counterparts, and man, they put it all out there, and I'm like, man, I don't know that I can.
Yeah, I mean, you do though, but you're also very much on the news and sort of tech. Cutting edge stuff about what's coming up. I mean, you have a very specific vibe though too. I like it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like we've got a really unique thing going here over here. First of all, thank you for keeping this thing going. This is the second time that my brand new iMac computer has crashed in the middle of a thank you, I'm retired, for the super chat. Awesome. In the middle of a live stream, and it's like I have this old iMac. This from 2015.
Yeah,
I used up until I bought this, and this never happened with that. So I might go back to it. That's ridiculous.
Well, Dave, you invited a lawyer on your show, so if you ever needed a guest to just keep talking, you've got the right one, my friend.
Yeah,
So,
I hope you don't charge by the minute, because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get this thing back up.
no, you don't want to pay for me by that. Somebody in the chat was asking if my content on YouTube is Ozempic. Yeah, it is. The pickle thing's just a joke. I like to make pickle content also because I'm
Pickle
just goofy.
content.
I make pickles. I do pickle talk. I also do cottage cheese recipes and other cooking and stuff. But yeah, it's semaglutide, GLP-1, Mounjaro. I actually don't name drop brands and compounds. I kind of stay out of the compound branding. I just call it, GLP-1s and stuff. But yeah, the whole journey, that's kind of what the videos are. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. I mostly talk about Mounjaro, but I you end up talking about all of them. I do mention them by brand because, hashtagging. But, this is a great plug for
Although
Lee's.
that can sometimes make it seem like they're not letting your videos go anywhere because you're talking about the brand names, and I can never tell with these algorithms what they're mad at one week or another.
Yeah, or one video to another. Like, I think
the YouTube is the same. It's LeeFitsIn, which
yeah, make sure that y'all get over there to LeeFitsIn.
It's on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. My main one is TikTok, but yeah. I like YouTube, and we spent a big chunk of the pandemic on YouTube, so always kind of wanted to try and get content going on YouTube, but the TikTok just took off, so I was like, well, that's what we're doing.
If I can. There we go.
Oh, we got it. Oh, I got you. I see.
I'm doing this all on the fly on my phone.
No, you're good, man. You're good. So yeah, I don't. The Oprah thing was just surreal, and it's still kind of crazy to think. But I've got pictures on my phone that prove that it's real.
It wasn't CGI, Lee.
No, she met with me and my mom after the show, shook hands, told me to keep it up. I mean, she was super nice. All of her people were super nice. So if you're, and the show is, the whole thing is not about Oprah. It's about GLP-1s and having this conversation. But of course, it tends to become about Oprah, at least that part of it. And so.
Well, I mean, I just look at.
But some people don't like Oprah, so I try and be like, well, don't focus on Oprah, focus on the conversation. So.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, exactly. So a lot of people have said she's polarizing. I'm like, I don't feel like she's that polarizing. It's just, there are others that are, but Oprah seems pretty neutral for me. I mean, what I love about Oprah is that
you're gonna get yourself into a rabbit hole if you keep talking like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Hopefully the folks in your chat don't get you.
Maybe I don't follow her enough to maybe if I did follow her more closely, I'd be like, oh, she's polarizing. Maybe I don't. Maybe I
no. People are polarizing.
People are polarizing. The world is polarizing. So here's what I think about Oprah is nobody's had more of a public battle with their weight, and nobody's been more pigeonholed or judged by their weight. I mean, she's conquered the world, literally. I mean, she's literally conquered the world. She's done everything except run the free world. And someday she might, who knows?
Well, she's 70. I think she's.
Is she really?
Yeah, she looks good though.
She doesn't look 70.
Yep.
That's crazy.
69. She maybe is 69. I looked it up. I thought she was 70, but then somewhere else it said 69, but she's 69, 70.
Wow.
And I see some folks saying they're following. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. And follow Dave. I mean, you already are though.
Yeah. Make sure you follow Lee. Yeah. If you do anything tonight, follow Lee. Let's see here. So I'm curious, I'm less, I think.
Your sound cut out.
Oh, did it? Can you hear me all right now?
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
So I think one of the things that I'm super curious about as far as the Oprah journey is I think I knew when that special came out that people would be picking apart what was said on the show, and I think the most important thing to come out of that whole thing is just the conversation starter element to it. Yeah. It's it gets the conversation into the mainstream. I care less about what any specific person has to say. about
Yeah.
GLP-1s, and I care more that we just get talking about it. Because like I was telling this to somebody else the other night. It's like really what Oprah has to say, or anybody. I don't want to pick on Oprah because she was
No, I
gracious, had you
understand.
on your show. She was gracious to you, your mom. And so it sounds like she's a great person. But what I want to say is the most important thing is like, it's people like you and me and the communities that support us and come into these live streams and facilitate these conversations and educate ourselves so that, we are on a like grassroots level having these
Yes.
conversations with people that don't know about GLP-1s so that we can educate them that like we've always looked at obesity as a behavioral issue, which there's an element of it that is behavioral, but
Sure.
we've made it all about that. And most people who struggle with obesity, nobody's worked harder to not be obese than they have. No
Yeah.
thin person. There's a biological element to it that for a lot of people is broken, and that is what GLP-1s do. And they don't do it in the same way that a stimulant does, but people just go
No.
there mentally. They go to
Well,
fen-phen.
there's been so many horror stories over the
Right.
years, and ephedrine making people's hearts stop, and fen-phen, and I mean, it's just, yeah, I get it, but this is not that. And so, what I found interesting is like we're competing, like you said, at a grassroots level against media that is huge and prolific that we can't compete with. Well, they're starting to change their narrative too, which I appreciate. Good Morning America did a really nice spot. There's been some good coverage, but when people see those articles, then they turn, because now everyone gets their news off social media, whether that's good or bad. They will look at TikTok to see what people are saying about this article that they've read. They'll look to YouTube. They're going to look in these places. And if the more content we can have out there, that when people go to look because they've seen some
Right.
scary article, they see better content that's like, whoa, no, this stuff is great. It's fine. It's not this or that. That's a benefit to what we're doing, and I think it's why I like to do it. Plus, it's fun. I like making videos. They're goofy. So
Me too, obviously. So I think if I had to encapsulate this down into one soundbite,
okay,
Lee, that's what I do. I'm a sales
do it.
guy.
Oh
Sales
yeah,
and
you're in
marketing.
sales. Yeah.
So I feel like somebody like Oprah has the power to shine a spotlight on people like you and people like me that are in the grassroots, in the trenches, doing the work of not only helping to educate people, because it's not like, I'm not the greatest resource for education. Your doctor is, but like you can't go to your doctor and get into a conversation with 100 people that are on the same medication experiencing, overlapping things, and what are you doing to deal with it? Like doctors can't give you that. You can get that in community with people who are here, but more so because we're in community, because we're sharing information, because we're doing things like, trying to stay out at the forefront of the clinical trials and all, we are Oprah bringing this conversation into the fold points people to content creators like us who are then doing the work of helping to facilitate conversations, educate people. She's shining a light on us by doing it, because
I think that's a
people
good
then
way to
come
put
to
it.
social media and they're interested in what we have to say.
Exactly. And the articles, I mean, even though folks maybe don't want to sign up for Oprah Daily, the yearly subscription thing, to see the original video. Well, I mean, if you Google Oprah, Ozempic, whatever, man, now there are dozens and dozens of huge national, international articles about what the conversation was. So, and then again, people see that and then they come to social media because that's just what we do now.
So here's the $1 million question, Lee.
Okay.
You were on Oprah. Have you peaked? Like, what comes after
Oh
Oprah?
boy.
The White House?
How? Yeah. Where do you go?
Where do you go from Oprah?
Dave's man on the Monjaro, obviously.
On the pen, right?
On the pin.
I teed you up perfectly.
Is a perfect follow-up for Oprah. Any other Oprah guests and should come on your show. Yeah, I know it's pretty crazy. Well, the thing is, it's sort of like, I don't know. I'm not I don't know if this is true, but for me, it's sort of like a social media creator's absolute dream to immediately go from zero to Oprah in months with
Zero to Oprah.
nothing more than your phone. Um, I think that's where some people, I've had some people who do give me a hard time, or are like, you can tell that there's a jealousy factor, and I hate that, because I don't care. I'm not trying to make money off this. I have a job, and I just do this for fun. I'm not trying to steal anybody else's limelight. But I think a lot of people have been making content for a long time and not obviously seen what I've seen, and I don't know why it's happened that way. But
I think
where
part
you
of
go
it,
from
part
here,
of it
I
is
don't know.
you're a pretty disarming guy.
Oh, well.
Your content is very approachable. Your personality is very approachable, and you just seem like the kind of guy that is like a great ambassador for the community. So first of all, thank you for being that, because you have been given that opportunity and you've stewarded it well. In the form of just going on there,
No
sharing
scandals yet.
What's that?
No scandals yet.
No scandal. Yeah. TBD. TMZ's coming for you. They're hiding in the bushes.
TMZ. Actually, TMZ did email me, but I didn't.
Did they really? Of course they did.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I actually didn't see they hit me up on Instagram, and it went to like, I don't know if you're on Instagram a ton, but
I miss messages on Instagram all the time.
Your messages go to these weird other boxes that aren't your inbox. And I didn't even know. And then I go over there and it's like, oh, well,
I missed that.
TMZ. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but if if folks in the chat want to know about Oprah or what that thing was like, shoot questions. I mean, which one of us was on Oprah?
You said that's a new comeback. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody says anything to like, which one of us was on Oprah? Oh yeah, that was me. Sit down.
I know, but I'm not like that.
Use it in court. See how that works.
Yeah. Well,
use it with the judge.
So here's the funny thing too, is like, I'm a trial attorney. So I do jury. I'm in a jury trial right now. I was just doing jury selection all day today. So I'm kind of beat, but luckily we don't have trial tomorrow. So this worked out good. But like, part of me is thinking, I wonder if some point somebody walks into the jury and they're like, oh my God, are you the guy from TikTok? Or are you the guy who was on Oprah? And like, oh God. So I'm just waiting for that to happen. Has not happened yet. But.
Yeah. Let me know when it does. That would be a cool moment. That would be a cool moment to be recognized.
Well, going around. I'm curious about for you, Dave. So a lot of people don't share with friends and family in their community that they're doing this. For me, it's been public since basically week 6. Everywhere I go in town, I live in a small town outside of Seattle by about an hour. Everyone knows what's going on with my TikTok and Oprah and all that crap. And so I'm kind of swimming in it on TikTok and also in real life.
And IRL. So I kept it on the down low for the longest time because I didn't keep it on the down low with like my IRL friends. But like with the broader circle of people, like at work, I didn't talk about it. But I have talked, I mean, at least the social media part. I'm being specific about the social media part.
Yeah.
The part about being on the pen, I've told everybody about it. As a diabetic, I can't, like, if something is changing my life, I can't help but talk about it. Like, if you follow me long enough, you'll catch me talking about my faith sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if it touches my soul in some way, you're going to hear about it. So, and I think it helps, to be diabetic, because I think like with the older generation, Lee, I think, like I'm talking people, that were born, before 1970, there's such a stigma with diabetes. Like, you just got it because you're fat. Like, there's plenty of science out there to show you that that's not it. There's an element of lifestyle that maybe, you're already on the tracks and it accelerates you, but it's
people on hormone
genetic
therapy, people on steroids. I mean, there's medical stuff that can make it, so that food has nothing to do with it. But yeah, sorry.
Okay, so two things. Themby wants to know what Oprah smells like, and she's being serious.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, she wasn't wearing any kind of perfume or cologne that I can recall. I didn't catch any kind of strong smell of perfume. We shook hands. She held my hand and was like, you know how you shake hands and somebody kind of holds it for a second? Because she's like a nice person, like a nice old lady.
In an endearing kind of way, yeah.
Yeah, and so, skin, of course, was perfect. Her hair and makeup was ridiculous. In fact, in the pictures with me and my mom and Oprah, because who doesn't have a picture like that?
We all do.
She looks photoshopped.
Do you have a picture with Oprah? Do I have
do.
A picture?
Oh, yeah. Do you?
Who has the picture of Oprah?
She did give away free stuff at the end. She was like, everybody gets a thing. But you know what it was? And everyone was laughing because it was.
Was it just a sack full of assorted GLP-1 pens?
No. I wish it was GLP-1 pens, but no, it was like a bag. What do they call them? It's like denim bag, and stuffed with like a magazine and a journal and some free stuff. So
nice. No car, no Tesla.
Everyone gets the thing.
No
Tesla cars though. No cars. But yeah. But she's probably, I want to say, like 5'6". She wasn't like crazy tall, but she wasn't short, because sometimes people in TV and movies are really kind of short in real life. But she was pretty normal, average height. She didn't seem short at all. And she didn't smell strongly of any kind of thing. So, good question. All questions are good. What do we got?
I thought that was an awesome question. And Mimi, I love what Mimi said, because she's like, yeah, I didn't know I needed to know the answer to that, but now I do.
Neutral.
That's awesome.
Oprah smelled neutral.
Neutral.
I didn't give her a hug though. Like, there wasn't a hug, but we were
an endearing handshake.
Yeah, and I can't wash my hand now. So
right, haven't washed his hand since. That's awesome. That has got to have been such a surreal experience, and so nice that she took some time with y'all after the show, and so cool that you got to go with your mom. Like, what an experience.
Well, yeah. Well, I made that my mom's about to turn 75, so I thought that'd be a fun thing to do. And then I've got a brother and 2 sisters, and so I also thought to myself, I'm going to get the picture of Oprah. We'll see if I can show you guys. That if they ever do anything nice for her, I'll be like, yeah, that's nice, but remember that time I took you to see Oprah? And then it'll be over. End of conversation. I win best child.
Did you take mom to Oprah?
Did you? I feel like I was the one.
I feel like that was me. It might have been you. I might be remembering this wrong, but I feel like there was something about New York and fancy dinner and lasagna and Oprah.
There was lasagna.
That was probably you.
There was lasagna. And although Carmine's, if you're ever have you been to New York?
I've been almost everywhere in the United States, and I've never been in New York City.
Oh yeah, you got to go to New York. But okay, there's Oprah.
Here.
There's me and my mom. There you go.
That's legit.
Oprah smells like money. Actually, what does money smell like? Money smells like different things depending on the condition of the money. Because I've seen money that looks pretty stinky, and then I've seen money that looks like it's fresh. So it depends on.
Yeah.
Depends
she
on.
Definitely smells like fresh money, not stinky money.
Fresh money, yeah, right. Fresh money. What? I'm just looking at your comments because
I know I'm looking at them too. I accidentally put somebody on the screen that didn't want to be on the screen. Somebody got a swag bag. Oprah smells like money. There's a lot of good. I interact with the comments a lot less on YouTube.
Yeah, what will happen? Oh, okay. Sue YouTube wants to know what will happen to Sam Bankman-Fried. Me and Oprah didn't talk about that. I don't know.
I saw Sue's comment on that. Is Sam Bankman-Fried somehow?
Is he connected to Oprah somehow?
That was my question. Is he connected to Oprah, or is it just a random question?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe I'll have to start my own YouTube about random famous people and their legal troubles. Sue said, "Thank you." There you
Yeah.
go.
So Patricia wants to know. She says Oprah looks thin. Is she on the pen? So did she?
Oh, that's a good one because of people asking that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you want me to answer it? I don't know. She didn't say she was on it. I think she probably can't say she's on it.
Right.
Because she owns part of Weight Watchers, which now owns Sequence, which probably prescribes both Ozempic and Mounjaro and Wegovy. Not that anyone can get Wegovy, but so I don't know if she can say. I think she'd be fair to say she's on a GLP-1. I don't know why she couldn't say that, but I also think Weight Watchers is rolling out a new plan for folks who are on a GLP-1 and Weight Watchers, and she may be waiting to kind of roll out her announcement and her journey on a GLP-1 until the Weight Watchers is ready to really roll and ramp that up.
Yeah.
So there's probably all kinds of things.
I think that based upon the way that Oprah looks, she has found the right
Well,
GLP-1.
but she looks healthy. She does not look thin in
she
real
looks
life.
she looks like she found whatever medication she needed. She looks like she found. Healthy. She looked great. I can't believe
she's almost 70.
For everybody who's talking about Ozempic face, you said she's 70. I would never have guessed that by that interview. I would have guessed, much younger. But she definitely looks great. So
so no announcement. I haven't heard anything else come out since the show that she admitted to being on it. A lot of speculation, but and some people are like, well, that's her right to be private about it, which is true to some degree, except for when you're Oprah. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of expectations of privacy. So if she was on it, I'd probably lean in the camp that I wish she would say it, but she hasn't said it, and I don't know if she's on it or not.
Yeah.
Good question though. Everybody is asking me that.
Yeah. I think it was a great conversation. I know that I was more interested in what it was like from a human perspective to just be on Oprah.
You can go watch the show, but
definitely. I think there's a little bit of a subscription fee but there is here too for some of the content that I make. So, if you're interested in following along, I think, when you said, I think there's probably plenty of reasons why she can't necessarily answer. Also, it's Oprah. She's figured out a way to monetize everything. She's like the queen of the world. So, if I'm Novo Nordisk or I'm Eli Lilly and I'm Oprah, I'm thinking that's probably worth something.
Yeah, name dropping your brand.
Yeah, I've finally figured out the thing that the world has put me under a microscope for 30 years, and this has helped me fix it. That's worth something. But also, she's a board member at Weight Watchers, and they just bought Sequins, and there's a whole bunch of
which I believe Oprah was a big catalyst.
And also, she doesn't owe anybody anything.
No.
She can just leave everybody in mystery, but she looks great, looks healthy, and certainly awesome of her to treat you the way that she did, and the community in general, just by starting the conversation and being willing to, and then pushing Weight Watchers in that direction. Because I really believe, I do believe that Weight Watchers, that let me couch it a different way, because I would love to have doctors.
I mean, you're, and I don't know if on YouTube it's as toxic, but on TikTok, Weight Watchers specifically is very triggering for a lot of people. And I don't have that history with Weight Watchers, so that doesn't resonate with me, but I know it's true for a lot of people.
Yeah. I know that it is too. But my personal opinion about this is like something like Weight Watchers, has it contributed to diet culture and some of the things. Yeah. But I mean, we don't know what we don't know, right? Like this science is new and it's all evolving. And the fact that they're willing to get on board with it, like I get it. It makes business sense to get on board with it for 1,000 reasons. But the fact that they're acknowledging, hey, we've done some things wrong, I think it's a step in the right direction. I think what the company that's ultimately going to win this is the company that understands that obesity is a disease of the mind, meaning when I say that, I mean behaviors. And then it's a disease of the body. Like there's, for a lot of people, things that are metabolically that need to be resolved, that are in disorder, that need be put back in order. But I think what we're missing is the spirit side of it, the emotional triggers. Like, you put all three of those things together, then you've got a juggernaut, right? If you can combine the mind, the body, and the spirit, and
Well,
treat
I
people
think that is
holistically,
I think that is what their goal is.
we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. I mean, I've always kind of called it the Noom element. If Weight Watchers could also incorporate kind of a Noom element,
Yeah.
then they really have something that's at the forefront of, the treatment of obesity. So
I did Noom. Did you ever do Noom?
I tried it. I didn't.
I did.
I've
Yet
tried-
another thing I tried and it didn't stick.
I've
done
tried everything, Lee. I've been on Jenny Craig more times than Mr.
Jenny Craig. Oh, you know what? The funniest one. Okay, Dave, I'm going to exchange stories with you. I'll start because that's the only fair way to do things. The most random weird diet I ever tried. William and Kate were getting married, right? Anyone who follows the royal family, William and Kate, and Kate was trying to cut down before the wedding, even though of course she was already gorgeous, and she come out with this Kate. What is her last name? Kate.
Winslet.
That's just whatever.
No.
Her diet, her meal plan to cut weight, and we did it for like 2 weeks. It was weird. It was these like protein pancakes, and I don't even know, but it was we tried the Kate diet, the William and Kate wedding diet.
The Kate.
That's the most random diet I've ever tried. You go now.
Oh, thank you, Mimi. I thought I had that. Yeah.
What? I didn't hear you.
I was just while you were guessing her last name, I said it.
Oh, thank you.
I was guessing.
Middleton.
I didn't know whether I was making that up or not, but Mimi.
Well, you were right. Okay, so randomest diet you've ever done?
I mean, I've done them all, Lee. I've done them all. Although random. I take that back.
Your commenters want the most random, Dave.
I never did the Kate diet. I mean,
okay.
So the most
Pickles.
random diet.
Matt says do the pickle diet. That's a good one.
I mean, I was back and forth. So we have to be careful on YouTube because YouTube's got some triggering words too.
Ooh,
and because
okay, my bad.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be careful here, but I've yo-yoed on one specific diet that is very very low in carbohydrates and extremely low in carbohydrates. And I've yo-yoed on that for 20 years. And I think it screwed me up metabolically, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's
But I've tried Weight Watchers. I've tried the one where you order the food. And matter of fact, the members,
okay, there you go.
The members saw, the one that I tried most recently before I tried the GLP-1, which was the Profile by Stanford diet. And so, I shared a video with the members that was pretty vulnerable today, which is,
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I've tried them all. So yeah,
right.
I mean, there's a lot of them. So I think, we've all been there. We've all kind of yo-yoed for years and years and years and done everything. And, that's, I think why, us common folk can identify with somebody like Oprah, who's been under the microscope for that whole journey. Because we've been under a microscope in our own little world while we've been on our own journeys. But she's just been on it from a meta level. And,
at a meta level. And I don't know if you've gotten to see the whole thing, but I mean, when she's talking about the struggles that the people in her audience are sharing with her and that the scientists that she had were talking about it, you can tell she is talking from her experience, and that's meaningful for somebody who's conquered the world, but has never gotten control of this yo-yo game that we're all on.
Yeah. And that's where I say, if there is anybody in this entire world that is the poster child for obesity is not a willpower thing, it's freaking Oprah, right? Yes, because you can't tell me that somebody like Oprah, who has conquered the world in nearly every other way, lacks willpower, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, if you think that Oprah lacks willpower, have you seen Oprah's bank account?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's conquered the world.
She looks like a real slouch, doesn't she?
Yeah. She's 70 years old and somehow looks younger than I do. So for what?
Yeah. When I tell people she's someone in your comments said she does turn 70 at the beginning of the year, so she's almost 70. It's shocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah. She looks awesome. So super cool that you were able to be a part of that and that you were able to represent the community. I got my computer back up here. It's a fine line listening and
Yeah, I know you're multitasking. Oh no, now it's just me. I feel like I'm on Wayne's World where it's just Garth.
yes.
And Garth is like
Wayne's World. That's a throwback, and that's the first or the second time this week that I've heard a Wayne's World reference.
Nice.
Randomly. Deb Foster wants to know if I've reached out to Rosie O'Donnell. I have not reached out to Rosie O'Donnell. I try not to overtly do everything that Kim does on the plus sides.
Well, you know, but this was just a one-on-one. When I was on plus sides, it was a big group, very different vibe than this. So I really appreciate this.
Yeah, it like we said earlier, it's different, same content delivered way differently. But you know, so when I went over to TikTok, you know, Kim and Janine, you know, they helped me get started over there. And so like, of course, I just met a lot of the same people. So that's why we've been able to get in touch and collaborate with some of the other creators over there, because that's who they're connected with naturally. That's who I connected with too. So obviously you're among them, but we've had Bourbon RX and Triplet Dad and Dr.
Rosen recently.
Dr. Rosen on a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And so it's been really great. And there's others, you know, lined up that want to get on too. And
there aren't a lot of, I don't know if there's a lot of celebrities necessarily that are wanting to go out and do.
There's not a lot of celebrities that are out there with it. Somebody's like, well, Tracy Morgan is a man that is on it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know that Tracy Morgan's. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like, I'm on Ozempic. Look, he's on the show. It was great. They're like, so what? You look great. And he's like, Ozempic.
And Charles Barkley, you could get Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley's on the moon. Yeah. But it's just like, I don't know how much these guys are clamoring to go on a young, you know, little guys, not a little guy, but little YouTube channel.
The why am I blanking on Rosie O'Donnell? I mean, that's pretty crazy for a small podcast to land Rosie O'Donnell.
Right. Very generous of her to give her time to that. So, I mean, for the record, Rosie O'Donnell has an open invitation here. Oprah has an open invitation here. Oprah, I know you're watching. Open invitation. I promise that if my computer freezes, I'll have a better backup. And you won't have to carry the show like Lee did. But yeah, all of them, everybody's welcome. So I appreciate you giving me some of your time here tonight, Lee. It was nice to actually meet you in person after following your content now for the last
YouTube, brother,
4 months that I've been here. And I know you got a lot going on with your trial. And so super nice of you to join us here tonight. Is there, let's give the call outs again. So you're at LeeFitsIn on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
I think I probably just got my first followers on YouTube here tonight. So now I'm very excited to go check that out.
Yeah, make sure you give them a follow.
I will get some content up on YouTube. Those are all the things. And emails. If you want to contact me directly with questions or any things you want to run by me, I'm at LeeFitsIn@gmail. It's all LeeFitsIn. And the reason I started the LeeFitsIn was, for the folks who don't know, is my original goal was to fit on the Mario Kart ride, and because there's kind of a size restriction, and I wouldn't have fit. But so by the time I got there in August to Tokyo, Universal Studios Tokyo, I fit on the ride. Somebody ahead of me did not. They actually got kicked out. I walked right by the little testing station because I was like, no, you're gonna have to pull my butt right off of that ride.
You're like, you should have started Ozempic 6 months ago.
So that's where Lee fits in. I was trying to fit into the ride, but then it also kind of works like I'm trying to fit into, all the cool kids on TikTok and YouTube. So
That's right. Nothing will make you feel old like going to TikTok. I'm like, especially when you go live and you're like, how do I make this go away? And you're holding your phone out here trying to see it. Yeah.
Well, and I do my lives. The times I've done it, I've just done it on my phone, and so I'm just kind of like, it's a little awkward.
Well, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for giving your time to the channel. I know that the chat has appreciated having you here too, Lee. So you're welcome anytime. Anytime you want to come back, have something to talk about, you're always welcome on the pen.
All right. If you ever see something or just want to have another, session, hanging out, chatting, hit me up, man.
We'll do it. Thank you, Lee, so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Have a good one. LeeFitsIn from LeeFitsIn. And that's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, or LeeFitsIn@gmail.com. Make sure that you check him out, especially over here on YouTube. Make sure that you go over and give him a follow here on YouTube. We'd love to get Lee some more followers here on YouTube. So kind of Lee to give some of his time to the stream tonight. Thank you for those who have welcomed him here and in the chat tonight. Make sure you let him know in the chat if you appreciated him being here tonight. So what a great show. What an awesome time with Lee. I mean, that was every bit. I think we could have probably kept going for longer. I'm tapping out because I'm getting tired, but I think Lee could have gone for even longer. So cool to have him. Oh yeah. Let's talk about Zepbound. Matt, you didn't even get the show notes. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Zepbound for a minute. So this is hat tip to Dr. Michael Albert did a video on this, and he went back. So I did a video where I went back in the last, 6 or 8 months of the patents or trademarks that Lilly had filed of drug names. And, the one I kind of came up with that I think that Mounjaro could be called is Lueo. That's the weight loss version. But going farther back to 2022, Dr. Michael Albert found Zepbound, which if you think about it, tirzepatide, Zepbound was a trademark that was filed by Eli Lilly. So potentially you could be looking at the weight loss indication of Mounjaro to be called Zepbound. Matt thinks it's an anti-seizure medication. I think it's a ridiculous name for a medication, Zepbound, but none of them are particularly great. So it could be anything. I'm going to go with Lueo. That's my official guess, because the commercial just kind of writes itself. Lose weight with Lueo. Sounds kind of like Wegovy too. I mean, I think you play off that a little bit because of the name recognition. Who knows? I think you just keep it Mounjaro. That's what I think. Keep it accessible as humanly possible. Keep it as easy to manufacture as humanly possible. That's the name of the game. So, all right. So we're going to get to the injection tonight. Looks like by my count, the largest super chat of the night belongs to I'm Retired. So thank you to I'm Retired. If you're still in the chat, you let me know. This is my first 15 milligram dose back on the 15 milligram. So if you want to let me know, I'm Retired, where this is going. And if you're not here, we'll go to somebody else that gave a super chat tonight, but let me know in the chat. So a couple people are asking in the chat, what were some of the other ones? Let's try to remember them off the top of my head. Sabaya was one of them. Sabaya, lose weight with Sabaya. People lost up to, I don't know, with Sabaya. It just doesn't work for me. Nicelvi, that's just a hard pass right out of the gate. Elvdeca, that's another hard pass. I call that the Tolkien character of medications. So I just saw your comment, Lee. Based upon previous internet reports, I will not be injecting into the groin tonight. But let's see. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm Retired is gone. So let's see who had the next one. Teresa or Sabrina. Both of you had the next biggest super chats of the night. So let me know if you're still here. But yeah, no groin injection tonight. I mean, okay. So for the $1 million super chat, somebody wants to give $1 million super chat. I'll put this thing wherever you want. There's a price tag for everything. Yeah. So Sabaya, Elvdeca, Nicelvi, or Lueo. Those were the big ones that I found. Lueo, that's the one that struck me the most. So we'll see. This has been a great show. So thank you all for being here tonight. Oh, Lee. We should have kept you on for a little bit longer, I think. I'm retired, Teresa or Sabrina. If any of you are left, I'm taking your recommendation. Otherwise, I'm picking it because I haven't picked where I've put my own injection in months. I've always given it to the chat. So actually, Sue, you can chime in too because Sue had a super chat as well. So you pick. Yeah, it was a great show tonight. Make sure that you get over and you follow LeeFitsIn at LeeFitsIn over on YouTube, over on TikTok. Those are the big two, right? Or you can find him on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to send Lee an email, you can get him at leefitsin@gmail.com. Gmail.com. So Sue says in the arm. So we're going to inject in the arm tonight. Actually, I'm going to go left arm. People swear by different sides of the body, right? Which is just fascinating to me here. I'm trying not to super disrobe for TikTok here or YouTube. I am so thrilled to be back on the 15 milligram, folks. Let's see. Listen. Oh, that's the good stuff. Jernine says the left side is the best side. So we'll see. Awesome. Thank you, Sue the dude. I appreciate that. Left is better for you as well. I'm left-handed. Lee, do you happen to be left-handed? Or Jernine, do you happen to be left-handed? I am left-handed, so I wonder if that has anything to do with it. So thank you all for being here tonight. What a great show! Thank you for being the best part of what we do over here at Man on the Manjaro. This is so fun. It's what I look forward to every week, is being here with you all. Thank you, Lee, for being here tonight. Thank you especially for holding the show when the computer crashed again. I don't know what I'm going to do about that because I just got this thing. I might have to return it. But this has been fun. Y'all are the best part of what I do here at Man on the Manjaro, and I just can't thank you enough. Especially thank you to the members who really keep this thing going, right? You keep this thing going every single week by helping to pay for the things like the StreamYard that I use, the graphics creator, all these things that take money. You make it work and then some. So thank you for being the best part of what I do here at Man on the Manjaro. Make sure that you get over and follow Lee's channel tonight. Make sure if you're here that you hit the like button before you leave. That's super helpful for the algorithm. So hit that little thumbs up. And then when we're done, come back and leave a comment to let the algorithm know that this was a really good show that other people should see as well. But we thank Lee again. Thank you for being here, and we will catch you next Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central.